All right, when you hear the word Sphinx, what's the first thing that pops into your head? It's probably one single, giant, monumental image, right? But what if I told you that that iconic image, well, it's only one part of a much bigger, much more fascinating story. Today, we're going to peel back the layers of sand and time to reveal the three faces of the Sphinx.
Yeah, you can probably picture it right now, can't you? That massive stone creature, body of a lion, head of a human, just crouched there in the desert, staring out at the horizon. It's a silhouette that pretty much everyone on Earth recognizes. It's become the symbol of ancient Egypt's mystery and power. For literally thousands of years, the Great Sphinx of Giza has been the one and only. It is the Sphinx in our collective imagination. And its image has so completely taken over our understanding that for most of us, it's the only version that even exists. But like with so many things from the ancient world, there is so much more to this guardian than what we see on the surface. The story we think we know, that's really just the beginning of a way cooler tale. The secret isn't about some hidden chamber, it's about hidden identities. And this brings us to the big question. We see that familiar human face, but is that really the only kind of Sphinx that the ancient Egyptians created? As you might have already guessed, the answer is a big, resounding no. That's right. The ancient Egyptians didn't just have one type of Sphinx, they actually had a whole classification system for them. Think of it like a divine taxonomy of these powerful creatures. And now we're going to unveil these other almost forgotten forms. Okay, so first things first, let's give our old friend its proper name. A sphinx with a human head, just like the one at Giza, is technically called an androsphinx. That andro part comes from the Greek word for man. So yeah, this is the one we all know and recognize. Now, that human head was usually a portrait of a pharaoh. The idea was to combine the king's intelligence and authority with the raw, brutal power of a lion. I mean, it's an absolutely brilliant piece of royal propaganda, just carved right into stone. But this was just the starting point for a much bigger symbolic system. All right, get ready to meet Sphinx number 2, the Criosphinx. You've got that same powerful lion's body, but this time it's got the head of a ram. And these aren't super rare either. You can find whole avenues of them lining the paths to temples in places like Karnak. And that head was no random choice. Not at all. The ram was a sacred animal, a symbol tied directly to the incredibly powerful god Amun, who is basically the king of the gods during the New Kingdom. So a Chrysphinx represents the power of a lion fused with the actual divinity of the god Amun. And that brings us to our third and final type, the Hierosphinx. And I bet you're starting to see the pattern by now. We've got the body of a lion, but this time it's crowned with the sharp, noble head of a falcon. So who did that piercing gaze belong to? Well, another major deity, the falcon god Horus. Horus wasn't just the god of the sky, he was also, crucially, the god of kingship itself. A Hierosphinx, then, is the fusion of a lion's strength with the divine authority of Horus.
So you see, this wasn't just some artistic choice, like an artist deciding what to sculpt that day. It was a system, a divine taxonomy. The ancient Egyptians were using these different forms to communicate very specific ideas about power and divinity. The real key is just understanding what each of those heads represented.
And when you lay it all out like this, it becomes crystal clear. You have the human head of the Androsphinx, which stands for the pharaoh's royal authority. You've got the ram head of the Criosphinx, calling on the divine power of Amun. And then the falcon head of the Hierosphinx, channeling the sky god Horus. Each one is a very specific statement, a unique blend of earthly power and heavenly purpose.
So here's the most important thing to take away from all this. The body of the lion, that was the constant. It always meant strength, ferocity, guardianship. But the head was the variable. It was the symbol that pointed all that power in a certain direction, telling you whose authority was being shown. Whether it was a pharaoh's, Amun's, or Horus's, it was a formula for expressing power.
And that just leaves us with a really fascinating thought, doesn't it? For centuries, most of us have looked at the Sphinx and only seen one thing. But now we know there's a whole language hidden in its form. It really makes you wonder, if a Sphinx's head reveals its divine purpose, what other secrets, what other forgotten languages are we missing in the ancient symbols we see every single day, just hidden right there in plain sight?